Jenny, say hi to everybody. Meow, meow, meow. Hey, so fall term has started, and don't mind me, I'm just actually gonna straighten my hair while I make this video. So my schedule pretty much sucks. Basically this is how it goes. Okay, so this is a map of my campus just to give you a bit of a reference. To give you even more of a reference, this is about a 10-minute walk. If you really try, you can walk that red line in 10 minutes. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this is the path I take from my first class to my second class. This one is from my second class to my third class. And on Tuesdays, I have to do this between classes. And keep in mind that break between classes is only about 10 minutes, and my schedule has my classes all in a row. And also there's lots of pedestrian traffic, and I mean stairwells. You're not always on the ground floor of every building, so I'm basically running to all of my classes. So what that all means is that except for my first class, I really have no control over how early I arrive. I arrive, a minute before lecture start or something like that because it just takes so long to get there. And so that's got me thinking, and I'm pretty sure that I say that in like every one of my videos, but it's got me thinking that there are certain rules about where you sit in a classroom. Some unwritten rules, unspoken rules. Okay, well, a pretty obvious rule is unless the seating is so limited that you don't have any other choice, you don't sit directly next to someone else. Rule number 2, if you show up and there are, 2 or 3 people in the room, you kind of have to choose the seat that is furthest away from as many people as possible. If you sit, 3 seats away from someone that's already there, when there was several tables that had no one at all, then you just look like you want to sit with that person. Like, I hated it when there was this one class I had where it was only like 1 or 2 people per table, and there was a certain table that I always had to myself because I don't have any friends, so I just sat by myself in every class, and that's just where I sat. And whenever somebody would already be sitting there, and even if they're sitting at like the far side, I can't just sit at my spot in the middle of the table. Why not choose one of the empty tables? I hate that. And no one has taught us these rules, and they're everywhere. Like on the bus, if you get on the bus, like a city bus, and there's 2 people on it, let's say, and they're together, and they're at the back of the bus, and there's no one else, you can't go sit in that back section of the bus with them. You kind of have to sit at the front. It's just sort of known. Why? Like, I wouldn't care. Like, well, I would think it's weird, but I wouldn't care. I mean, I just think it's weird because I know that I'm not supposed to do that. And why? Why do we have these rules? Who said that that's how it has to be? I mean, and where these rules don't seem to apply is the movie theater. If you go into the movie theater and there are 2 small groups of people, let's say 1 in one row, 1 in the next row, and there's sufficient room for you to not sit too close to them, you can sit in that row. That's normal. Everybody wants the perfect seat in the movie theater. No one's going to blame you if you sit in the same row as them. You don't have to do 1 group per row before you can start doubling up on the rows. But that's how it is with classroom seats. If there's an empty row, you don't start doubling up. You gotta fill up all the rows first. And it's stupid. And normally I don't care, because normally I show up like 10 minutes early, and then I get whatever seat I want, and then people can make their own decisions and interpret the rules their own way, sit wherever they want, and then I don't have to worry about it, because I don't care where people sit. As I see, those things where people sit with 2 empty chairs, And so then someone can sit there, but you gotta choose who do you sit next to out of the two of them. And I'm very bad at knowing that, because I'd love to sit next to someone who, you know, would be willing to talk, like, I don't mean like talk over top of the lecture, but, you know, talk like, lean over and say, what does that say? Or ask if I've, you know, started the assignment or just whatever. I mean, we don't need to be friends, but if you have something to say. But there are just some people who get so put out by it, and then you have to do the little charade of, you know, shifting your stuff over a couple of centimeters, even though it wasn't in their way. But you got to do that little shift to show them that it's okay, that they're sitting there. I hate it when someone has to move their backpack. You know, when you come in and you put your backpack on the seat next to you, but then the room turns out to be a lot fuller than you thought it would be, and then you have to move your backpack. Normally when I see the room gets full, I move my backpack before someone goes for my seat. Just because when somebody does move the backpack, then I just feel like they were really hoping that seat would stay empty. They went as far as to bet their backpack that it would stay empty, and then I came along, you know, aimed my walking towards their chair, and then they had to sadly give up the dream. I hate that. And especially because when you're on your way to the backpack seat, you don't know if it's saved or not. So if you get there and they haven't moved it yet, then you have to be like, oh, is it saved? And I mean, if it's not saved and they haven't moved it, then obviously they hate your guts for trying to steal their seat. But if they say no, then they're going to move the seat and then you have to sit there. But what can you do if you get all the way there and they don't move the backpack? I mean, can you just turn around and walk away? So dumb. So now, even though I hate these rules and I normally show up early in order to not subject myself to them, I'm having to deal with them, and they really suck. So what do you guys think? Do you have to deal with this at your school, or when you went to school, or on the bus, or the theaters, or anywhere that you sit? What do you think? Do you care when people sit too close to you? This isn't straight at all. Yes, it is. Is it? Isn't it? I don't know, but it's gonna be a long fall.